It is time for Cuyahoga's Most Wanted, an afternoon edition of Cuyahoga's Most Wanted. Every week we feature three fugitives. I've got them right here. Three fugitives who are wanted, making us all a little bit less safe out on our streets. An anonymous tip gets them off our street and into a courtroom where they belong and facing very serious charges again this week. Let's bring in, as we do every week, Detective Red Dyer from the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department. Detective, how are you today?
Excellent, Dan. How about you?
It is good to have you. Red, this program we know works. This series, we've been doing it for quite a few years now, directly or indirectly because of being featured on Cuyahoga's Most Wanted. We are at a 70% capture rate. That is an incredible number. Why do we continue to partner up? Why are you folks working with Channel 19?
Well, Dan, at Crime Stoppers, as we discuss every week, we recognize the value in our community, the eyes and ears that they provide to us to help solve these cases, get justice for these victims, clean up their neighborhoods, and it opens up the potential for a reward, which we'll get into a little later.
We'd all love to have a deputy or an officer standing on every single corner. That's just not possible. That's why the public can be such a big help when it comes to finding the fugitives. Red, we've got three serious cases in front of us yet again today. Let's get to our first one. Richard Carnegie, what do we know?
Well, Dan, what we know about Mr. Carnegie is that he's looking at 5 counts of rape. In his most serious case, which occurred in 2018, he's wanted for multiple counts, as I.
It looks like Red locked up there. We're going to wait for his signal to come back, and we'll redo the case here of Richard Carnegie. He is facing a long list of charges. When you see all this black right here, those are bold and the charges that he is facing. Red, we're going to bring you back here. It looks like we've got your signal back. We lost you just as you got into the case. So let's start this one more time. What do we know about Richard Carnegie?
Well, what we know, Dan, is Mr. Carnegie has 2 active warrants with the Sheriff's Department. In his most serious case, which occurred in 2018, he's wanted for 5 counts of rape with sexually violent predator specifications in incidents that included 3 separate victims. It's even alleged that he was in possession of a firearm during one of these incidents. He's approximately 5'9" and 170 pounds and was last known to be staying in the 5600 block of Stonington Park in Stone Mountain, Georgia, but may also have ties to the Las Vegas, Nevada area.
And so let's be specific here. This man may have ties to Georgia and Vegas, but he is accused at some point here, being in Cuyahoga County, of these extremely serious charges. So whether he's back in Northeast Ohio, whether he has family here, whether he visits here, this is a case we need solved. We need to find out where Richard Carnegie is. Red, let's get to our second case. Kevin Toiver, what do we know?
Well, Dan, unfortunately, this is another case that involves trafficking of drugs. According to indictments, it's alleged that Kevin Toiver was trafficking a fentanyl-related compound, as well as heroin and cocaine, drugs we don't want to see on our streets. He was also in possession of a firearm, which is prohibited due to his criminal history. And we see this a lot, Dan. Dealing drugs is dangerous. Kevin has an extensive criminal history with the Sheriff's Department dating back to 2013. Mr. Toiver can be identified by the tattoo on the right side of his neck of a cross. He's approximately 6'1" and 220 pounds and was last known to be staying in the 18th Street in the city of Cleveland.
Red, it always amazes me, and this is not the first person we've seen with a cross tattoo. Boy, they enjoy religion and praise God enough to get a tattoo, but not sure God would be dealing in fentanyl and heroin and cocaine on our streets. That always amazes me. Let's get to our third and final case. This is interesting, and I want to remind people at home, when we start talking about trafficking of human beings, it's not just what you see in the movies, people put in crates and shipped across borders. Human trafficking also comes down to anybody who is putting a person into a role of prostitution, but yet that person keeps all the money. They keep them huddled down, they keep them in hotels, they keep them sheltered to where they can't get out of that lifestyle. That is also known as human trafficking. And so when we get a woman that has been convicted in this, not trying to be sexist here, but obviously most cases of human trafficking when it comes to prostitution, there's usually a man at front and center. But in this case, we've got a woman who has pleaded guilty to this kind of activity. Red, let's get to the case of Tammy Hammock. What do we know?
Well, Dan, as you stated, this is deeply troubling. Ms. Hammock has 2 warrants with the Sheriff's Department. In one case, she's wanted for theft. And more importantly, in the other case, she is wanted for failing to verify her address with the Sheriff's Department. She's required to register as a Tier 2 sex offender after a guilty plea in 2014 to compelling prostitution and possessing criminal tools. According to reports in that case, it was discovered that she and an accomplice were involved in the trafficking of 9 women in a prostitution operation that was set up in Orange Village, Ohio. She's approximately 5'7" and 200 pounds. She can be identified by a butterfly tattoo on her neck. She also has warrants with Macedonia, Cleveland Heights, and Wadsworth for theft. She was last known to be staying in the 4400 block of Rowan Road in the city of Brooklyn.
And just yet another individual that you did the crime. Now you have to not only do the time, but register as a sex offender for a number of years, and she is failing to do so. Authorities need to know where she is at. Detective, let's talk about people may be nervous. I know where Miss Hammock is staying. I know what bar she goes to. I know what job she is doing under the table to avoid detection. But I don't want her to know it's me that called into Crime Stoppers to give the tip. Why should someone feel comfortable calling Crime Stoppers of Cuyahoga County? And it looks like Red has locked up yet again. Red, you're back. Go ahead and tell us why people should feel comfortable calling the tip line.
Well, Dan, it's because we don't record the phone calls. We don't take down your name or use caller ID. All the information that you provide through us, we're going to provide you with an anonymous tip number so that your information is never exchanged.
Yeah, think of that tip number that they give you, that reference number, like your tracking number. You call 216-252-7463. You give them the information. They give you a tracking number. 45 days from now, you call back in, see if your tip led to a reward. Detective Red Dyer, when we start talking about reward money of up to $5,000, what do you like people to remember?
That crime doesn't pay, but Crime Stoppers does.
Crime Stoppers does, and it's an incredible program. Again, a 70% capture rate when these individuals are featured here on Cuyahoga's Most Wanted, whether that's directly, indirectly, whether they see themselves on TV or here on our websites and they turn themselves in. It is a program that works, and we need it to work again. Red, let's go get them.
Let's do it.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the time, Detective. That's going to wrap it up for Cuyahoga's Most Wanted this week. Again, that phone number, very easy. It is actually 216-25-CRIME if you're spelling it out. 216-252-7463. Easy number to remember, and make that anonymous call. If we have any other breaking news, it'll be here on our digital platforms in just about 45 minutes. We start 3.5 hours of news and first alert weather on Channel 19. We're going to see you there. Until then, I'm Dan DeRosa with 19 News. Have a great afternoon.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV apps and follow us on social media at Cleveland 19 News.